Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. I have my scrying bowl off, well, not off to the side, front and center. This is what we're doing today. So if you're new to my channel, my readings are a little different. If you're returning, welcome back. You know how we do if it doesn't resonate with you. If you're forcing the story to fit, arguing with it in any way, just leave it behind for the people who it's meant for. So let's go ahead and let's begin. Okay. Taking a step aside. And allowing spirit to pass through me. Opening up to receive information. Okay. So the first thing that I'm seeing here is I'm seeing and feel free to leave any sort of insights or images that you see inside the water in the comments, because you never know when your insights can help someone. Now, first thing I'm seeing is it's like a window, and I'm getting kind of like the feeling that this window, there's someone in the window too. I'm getting like a feeling that that window is on a car. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing like an angle on one side, so this is definitely like a backseat window, and there's someone in the window. As I'm feeling into that person, my solar plexus opens, so I think that this is basically who this message is supposed to be for. So when we think about the back seat of a car, we're really talking about the car in terms is usually, it represents our life. And being in the back seat means not necessarily being in control. So someone's definitely in a place within their life where they don't feel in control. I'm not feeling that this person, whoever you are, I don't feel that this is like feeling anxiety about it. I don't feel like I don't feel anything about it. It's like I'm learning peace. There's like an underlying something, but it's like I'm learning to be at peace with the process, or being at peace with wherever this is taking me. Okay. Someone might really like the color red because I'm seeing it as a red car. Okay. There's also this energy involved in it that like it wasn't always this way. It's like oh, real briefly, I don't know if you caught that. It almost looked like a person kneeling that had their hands up. So there's definitely an element of surrender, which kind of goes into what I was just saying. When we talk about the energy of surrender, we only learn surrender when we didn't trust, when we had a loss of faith. So for an example, when we're young and we're in the car, we trust the person who's driving to keep us safe, right? We're not usually side seat driving, back seat driving. Some of you might have had to, but for the most part, that's not what we're doing until we get a little bit older. And then when we're older, most people have a really hard time not side seat driving or back seat driving to a certain degree. And it's because there's a loss of faith in people around us to do what they need to do, to take responsibility, to have our best interest in mind, to be mature enough, whatever it is, right? To be paying attention enough. And so there's this energy that at some point someone has lost faith in the process, in the universe, in life, in themselves. And it does go back to the self. Even if we're like, yeah, but I'm the only person that can get this right. That's why I have to control, I have to control, I have to control. I don't mean the ego identity self. I mean the deep self that's navigating all of this for us and constructing all of this for us. There's this energy that someone is learning to surrender to that. And by surrendering to that, they're coming into partnership with it. So for example, you may be noticing that you're becoming part of a greater pattern, and maybe even playing an instrument in other people's patterns. So being the vessel by which their synchronicities occur. Maybe you're having more synchronicities. Maybe you are noticing that, different things are starting to happen around you that didn't necessarily happen before, or at least they're happening to a more significant degree. Okay. This right here almost looks like a person that's like running. But they're running and their foot's here on this bowl and their hands there too. It's like there may have been this decision to kind of like go back to the past, or maybe that was like that's where the life had been going. There's like this consistent going back to the past. So the further we tried to push, the more we got dragged behind. Do you know what I'm saying? And in this surrendering, we're finding that slowly we're actually going forward. Very interesting. My eyes just darted down to the bottom. They just got pulled down to the bottom where there's this circle. And the circle has like a bright outer rim. So this is from the process of creating the pottery. And this is almost feeling like this eclipse season. So it's like in this eclipse season, someone is going to start noticing how much that surrender actually deepens within them. It's like a greater sense of surrender is emerging within somebody. So this means, at its core, that someone is regaining their faith. Okay? And I wanted to say too, because a lot of you have heard me speak against spiritual slavery. And this doesn't mean that you're allowing something else to dictate your steps. Again, it feels like just simply trusting the co-creative process between yourself and your external world. Okay. As I did that, I did briefly see a pentagram, so some of you may be practicing magic or witchcraft or getting interested in topics like that. Some of you may be practicing certain clearing techniques or banishing or protections. As I'm saying that, this is starting, it started to morph already, but my eyes are starting to adjust to it. It almost looks like, so it looks a little bit like a Japanese kanji that stands for tree. So there may be something about sacred woods that are becoming important for somebody, or being out in nature, surrounding yourself with trees. I'm also seeing, the letter V, the letter F, and the letter D may be significant to somebody. Okay. And there's this element of a mask here. So I'm seeing like the eyes here, and then I'm seeing this almost like the mask. And there's an element of this mask that we're beginning to see. And it's like the protective quality. It almost feels like it's a survival mechanism. We're realizing that that's not really who we are. And the more that someone steps into this state of surrender, the more they're realizing that, oh, what's at the core of me is actually peace. It's actually bliss. Who I actually am is bliss, or joy, or peace. It's something along those lines, maybe happiness, right? Who I actually am is laughter. Who I actually am is serenity. And the things that we've been adopting, the things that we've been carrying, that the gur in our that's not actually who we are, right? It's the byproduct of the friction of the war that we have with the experiences inside of our life. Getting a very specific message. I normally don't call names out, but there's a message for somebody whose first name is Angela, and there's this connection with your mother that it feels a little bit like you've been trying to establish, and this connection seems to be being established because of, and there's a lot of Angelas out there. There are probably quite a few Angelas that are trying to establish a connection with a passed over mother. This seems specifically in reference to a child that was just born, and maybe asking for help, or asking, I don't know how to do this, is kind of the feeling that I have, like I don't know how to do this. And the message that's coming through is to just surrender to the process, because what you need to know, your ancestors are helping you, and yourself is actually guiding you. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. Right. Okay. There's this crossroads energy that's kind of coming in, because I'm seeing this X form on the top. And so this feels a little bit like somebody is really at a crossroads within their life, and that's what they're having to surrender to, is that something is about to change, and they know that. Previously, maybe you had tried to make a decision about this crossroads, and that didn't work. It's like something pulled us back, or we just found that life brought us back to the same point. Not because of not taking responsibility, not because of choosing the same thing. It's just that life somehow had a way of bringing us back to the same sort of energy that we had already had. Maybe not the same situation. And this is why someone is now settling for, okay, I'm just going to surrender to this process and see what happens. Okay. Okay. We have this energy that's also showing up here, and I don't know if you'll be able to catch this on the camera, but it's like here, and then it's here, and that's almost speaking to me of like the sign of Cancer, but if it's like the two symbols are facing out. So someone who is normally really like a family person, it's almost like you're having to either disown family or walk away from family, or you're really rethinking something within your family structure. And there's a way to go about things that's a little bit outside of the box. And the reason why I'm saying that is because this one right here is like off of the water, and it's been standing out to me pretty hardcore. So there's other ones that are doing it, but this one right here is really standing out to me. There's a way that to take like a higher ground that's outside of the box that will allow you to move forward in the best possible way for everyone that's involved. Okay, so that was a very specific message that just wanted to come through. Whoever this message is for, it feels a little bit like with this energy of the crossroads and this process that's happening, it's like having to trust fully in order to get to where we need to be, right? So it's the same concept as like giving something space. You know, sometimes when we want something from a person, for example, and you just kind of push them for it, they'll just clam up even more. Whereas if you just give them space, they're probably more than willing to work with you. And our lives are that way too, right? I've talked about it before about how when we're really serious and we just keep trying to force something, which is sometimes what action is, it ends up creating blocks inside of our life. So by taking this back seat, just for this moment, right, just allowing ourselves to surrender to the ride, it feels like what we're actually doing is we're learning to regain our faith, and that faith is allowing the space for the universe to work out in our favor. It's kind of like when people say let go and let God. It's kind of like that, like letting go of the reins long enough for something beautiful to be created or something new to be created, or for you to see that things are actually working out in your favor. That's not always the case, and that's why I'm saying that it's very specific for whoever this message is for. Hopefully there are things inside this reading that help you recognize if this is for you or if it's not for you. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm getting symbols. If you haven't been here for symbols before, the symbols don't mean that the reading is or isn't yours. It's just that if the symbols resonate for somebody, then it's just a sign to pay extra attention. The eyes are standing out to me pretty hardcore right now. So, eye symbology might be standing out for you quite a bit. Owls, okay, because that owl was like kind of standing out to me, and I'm seeing like a horned owl in here. And there's something about a tiger, okay, and then there's something about, it's a Reiki symbol. I think it's like the symbol for like more energy, okay, maybe even Reiki itself, there's something there. There's something there that's like really important for somebody. Not that, you do it and you've always done it. It's something right now is like super important in terms of like that spiral symbol that represents more energy. There's also something about the element of fire. Okay. There's also a house. So there's something about a house that we're returning to. Okay. And then rabbits. It's like rabbits are everywhere. That's how I feel, like rabbits are everywhere. Someone's experiencing rabbit symbology quite a bit. I'm getting that somebody has been trying to help someone see that a spirit is calling out to them, right? But in reality, if you stop and you take a step back, you'll realize that those symbols in small ways have been coming for you. So it's like it's actually you're the one that's being called by this spirit. So that's not going to be everybody's story, but it's just something very specific that's coming through for somebody. It's almost like if you have someone in your life and you're like, hey, like those are all symbols for this particular spirit. I think that you're experiencing this because they want to work for you. And then it's like, hey, no, you didn't realize that they're happening to you. That happens. It's very cute. All right. What is this? And then there's something about this glass ball, something about a glass ball. It's not a crystal ball. It's like it's a hollow inside. Okay. Page of Cups. So when we have the Page of Cups, this is really a card that's about fantasy and daydreams And for me, the Cups card, both the Page of Cups and the Knight of Cups, it can represent allowing ourselves to come into a deeper state of innocence. With the Page, it's much more about emotional innocence. With the Knight of Cups, that tends to be a little bit more of like a romantic innocence. So here, there's like this element of emotional innocence is coming into someone's life. And this emotional innocence is very strange because, you know, their head is a cup, but it's got steam rising up, and someone else, somewhere else, smells that steam, right? And they're like, oh, what a lovely cup of coffee. So in this state of innocence, it's like a resonance is beginning to change, and that resonance is going out into our co-creative universe. And I do feel like there's something about connection, because connection keeps coming up. It's been coming up on this channel probably for the last month. So like-minded people, maybe it's in person, maybe it's online. It's just that it's like we're magnetizing experiences inside of our reality towards us because our resonance is changing due to this surrender. Okay, we have the Eight of Pentacles. And with this Eight of Pentacles, typically Eight of Pentacles, people read it as work. For me, this Eight of Pentacles is about crafting something. So there's something within our emotional space that someone is trying to craft. It's like I'm trying to take control of maybe my my nervous system, or I'm trying to take control of my anxiety. I'm trying to learn to alleviate the way that I worry, and I'm doing this by letting go. I'm doing this by releasing control. Okay. And we have the Four of Cups. It's like emotionally we just weren't happy anymore with however things were. What we were doing wasn't working, and so we're trying a different way. Okay, Justice and the Empress. Ooh, balancing the feminine energy within. So, you know, receptivity, surrender, faith, trusting in the co-creative qualities of the universe. These are all very feminine principles. So this is very beautiful energy, because I think that someone here, you know, we've had a lot of solar, more masculine energy readings that came out early in the spring and into the summer, and now we're getting into this very deep, dark feminine space, which makes sense to me, coming up into fall. And this is where like the darker feminine energies start to emerge. We had a reading earlier in the spring about Thoth and the healing frequencies of the masculine energy, and then now we're moving into the arena of Hecate that we're probably going to get into as we get closer to Halloween on this channel anyway. And this is where the balance is tilting a little bit, because there's always this energy of recalibrating the two frequencies, recalibrating the two sides, and we're swinging over into this feminine energy again in this collective, and we're allowing her to have space. So allowing her to feel that surrender, to let the masculine energy drain out of our nervous system so that we can calm and we can be quiet and we can remain peaceful, as opposed to being protective and being on guard and trying to control a situation. Those are all very masculine polarity energies. And so this is very much an energy of like allowing ourselves to slip into that feminine energy, which is the space of intuition. It is the space of interconnecting with the pattern, and it's the space of giving space. So maybe you're giving space to the universe, maybe you're giving space to your life and the process that's happening in your life. Maybe literally you're giving space to a person so that they can kind of figure something out for themselves. Whatever the case is, the space is required. You know, if we plant things, we can crowd them in a little bit, but they have to have enough space for their roots to grow. And the root is what pulls up the nutrients, and anything that's inside of our life, it needs the space to pull the nutrients and to pull on the energy and to create its own vibration, its own frequency, its own field, before it can really be manifest in our life. Someone's path is being determined by the quality of the space that's being given. Is the space being filled by anxiety? Is the space being filled by worry? Or is this space being filled with love? And I think that that's one of the reasons why the messages on this channel up to this message have been about a profound sense of love on the tails of some sort of grief. So whether those particular readings registered for you or like resonated for you isn't really the point. The point is just that at some point we tap back into the storyline. And here on this channel, the readings tend to follow a seamless flow, but people will find that this one resonates, that one doesn't. This one resonates, that one doesn't. It's all the interweaving of the pattern, right? How our grids all like kind of coalesce and pull apart and coalesce again. And this particular Justice card is interesting because this Justice card has the double-headed axe. And this card here is really making me think of the thunder deities. So, for example, Thor or Shango, especially with that double-headed axe, okay? So the thunder deities or the element of thunder might be something for people to study on, even lightning, like how lightning works. Because there's something about this solid energy that's being torn down, some way of being that's being torn down, almost like some stuck structure inside of our life or some block inside of our life, and it's being torn down not through force, not through this heavy lifting force, because the Empress is on top. It's being cut away, and it's you know, being removed forcibly through a very gentle process, and that's a very interesting energy. It's like I'm going to make something happen by becoming hands off. So definitely somebody here is practicing manifestation, and I think that there's a heavy manifestation element that's been on this channel for probably the last 2 months. So a lot of you are getting into it. And you know, I love that, especially if you're aware of the High Priestess tier on this channel, on the channel memberships. Let's see. Okay, so speaking of channel members, you guys are going to have a reading today, so definitely check that out. And if you are interested in being a channel member, the link for that's always in the description box. Okay. Oh, what did I say? What did I say? All right. So here, this is like a new beginning, right? And what happens with the Knight of Pentacles? The Knight of Pentacles, he's not moving into things really quickly. He's not really the most action-oriented knight. He is moving at his own pace, right? He's kind of slow, but he understands that slow is how something builds. So he's got a lot more feminine energy, especially as the Earth, right? It's that complete negative polarity where it's a very feminine energy, and this is what someone is embodying. It's like I'm lifting the visor of my of my helmet to see that I got this. And this is definitely happening in the mental space. It's like someone may be having to kind of pull their mental energy back a little bit, because the mind is really what traps us. The mind is really where we kind of get stuck on this stuff. This here with this card, I want to say something more about that, because when we have this double-headed axe and it's bringing me into the thunder deities, typically I'll read the Justice card as Ma'at, because usually this card depicts someone with the scales of balance, but in this particular instance it's not. It's that double-headed axe. And so you know, there's something there that's being said inside of this reading in terms of that air energy really representing something mental, right? Mental and more masculine. And maybe that's where when you have anxiety, you start to overthink, right? You start to use your mental energies more. And maybe that's what's trying to calm here with this feminine water. Feminine water, earth. Here, it's like we're just, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. That's kind of how I feel about this. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt because we're having to place our trust in something, because now this is shifting on me, and those are the scales of Ma'at. And what are the scales of Ma'at? I will weigh the hearts of the dead against a feather. If the heart is lighter, then you get to, and Ma'at is really, you know, divine justice, divine law, divine order, everything in its right place, in its right time. Again, we're coming into, you know, that's dead center here. Someone's surrender is really allowing them to plug into a pattern, plug into the current. It's like I'm going where the energy is flowing, and rather than against it, right? There's no point swimming against the river. I'm going to swim with the river, and I'm just going to kind of see where it leads me. And I'm going to trust that this river is going someplace good, and not all of it's going to be good, but I'm going to trust that in the end it's going to be amazing. It's that kind of vibe that someone's giving here. And, you know, I don't feel that this is about money, giving money or anything like that, though it could be. Some of you might be, you know, trying to get money from a lender. This is more about like the energy and the energy and the experience that I'm getting and I'm receiving because I'm balanced now. Right? And the Magician. I mean, I can't really say much more about the Magician. This is, for me in this space where I was talking about manifestation, this is leaning more into manifestation energy. How do I use my emotions? How do I use my mind? How do I use my willpower in order to have something tangible within 3D? And this particular Magician is leaning into this energy, being receptive, creating space, and surrendering. So definitely a feeling of regaining faith here. I'm going to leave this here. So if this resonated with you, good luck with this. I think this is a really beautiful energy. And if it did resonate with you, feel free to hit the like button. Feel free to leave me a comment. And until next time.